For the longest time, I just wanted to post YouTube videos with massive edits, cool cuts, because it entertains me. But I felt like it was something that I always wanted to watch, right? I always want to watch videos where there's cool edits, there's information being shared that way. But I realized that I'm not putting out enough content and sharing my true story. And some of the little bits and little things that I can put out there may help you right now. And you can't squeeze those in on Instagram, reels, short reels like that, TikToks, YouTube shorts, things like that. So I appreciate you guys watching this, and let's dive in. So I graduated high school at 17 years old, and I quickly turned 18 in May. But I had graduated with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors. And at that time, I grew up in a very conservative household. My parents are very straight-laced, never was alcohol in the house. We went to church, we were Church of Christ, consistently on Sundays, very regimented. And I wasn't a bad kid, so I wasn't like, I say that, but I had 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors. So what is a bad kid? I was looking for something. I didn't know what I was looking for. And today I want to talk to you. If you guys are young, or you have a past, or you're creating a past that you don't want if you're young, then you need to listen, because what I was searching for was purpose. I needed purpose. I needed to go out and carve my own. And the way I was doing it was very destructive. So coming from a family that didn't drink, coming from a family that I thought didn't have any life experiences that I needed to go see and test for myself, which is very common. We all have different experiences. But for me, I was going down the wrong path. And with those 2 felonies, I was going down the wrong road, and I could have easily gone down a path of where I went to prison. I didn't go to prison. So what I did was I got those 2 felonies because I assaulted somebody with a deadly weapon in burglary 1. Now, I got that burglary 1 because I entered a house that wasn't mine. I didn't steal anything. I'm not a burglar, but I did assault somebody with a deadly weapon. And we'll go into that another time and why. But if you're going down that path, a very destructive path, trying to carve your own, young, or you have a checkered past, don't let it define you. Because I'm here today, multimillionaire. I have millions in assets in real estate. I've created multiple successful businesses. I have a beautiful family, which is something I pride myself on the most. I've been married for 10 years. No other prior relationships, marriages wise, no illegitimate kids. I have a great life. And the more conservative foundation that I had is probably what led me there. Me as a father now, I teach my kids pretty conservative values. But at the same time, you have their freedom of choice and more open-minded perspective about things, For a conservative believer, I'm a very tattooed, irregular person. You can't put me in a box. You cannot corner me into one type of person or one specific saying or quick little, that guy's this. And that's what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be cornered. I didn't want to be told what to do, and had a problem with authority. And that's what led me to getting in trouble at 17. I didn't want to listen to what anybody had to say. 1, because I didn't like the people that were telling me it. And I didn't like them, not in a bad way. I just didn't want to be like them. Of course, I love my parents, my mother, my father. I'm very gracious for how they raised me. But I wanted to go carve my own path. I saw this vision for myself that was more. And so what I ended up doing is, after I had those 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors, I went to the recruiter and I said, hey man, this is the situation. This is where I'm at. And can you help me? Because I always wanted to get into the military. I had watched all the war movies. I'd watched Arnold in all of them, Sylvester Stallone. I even still to this day watch World War II and Vietnam documentaries, because I am very, very intrigued with history and understanding why we get into these conflicts and how they're handled at mass levels. And I think we can learn a lot from our history. But I've always been obsessed with that. So I wanted to go the military path, and this was going to fuck up my opportunity. And so I found a recruiter that was willing to go to bat for me. And this recruiter, he went with my attorney, which I had to sell my own car to pay for my attorney. My parents weren't cutting me any slack. So I had an attorney, I had the recruiter, off to court. Well, fortunately, They negotiated a deal with the judge that said, instead of me going to a juvenile delinquent center for 6 months to a year, which is what they were looking at, they were going to, and I was going to make an example of me because the judge wanted to make an example of me because I led a crew of people to this problem, and rightly so. They needed to make an example out of this young man that was going down the wrong path. But if I would have gone down the juvie route, there's no doubt that there were people that were going to test me. And at that time in my life, I wanted to deny authority and I wanted to show that I was the tough guy. And so I would have gone down a massive rabbit hole of getting into more fights, more violence, more problems, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And so that one little pivot of me going to the United States Marine Corps at 18 years old, because I had turned 18 during this court time, was something that changed my life. And when I was in the Marine Corps, I was welcomed with open arms. And I as funny as much as I hated authority, I still needed that discipline. I needed to harness that into something. And for me at that age and that time, it was becoming a war-fighting machine. It was becoming an infantryman in the United States Marine Corps and being around other people that had the same energy and using this in the right direction. So I'm not suggesting everybody go join the military. But what I am saying is, like I said, if you're a young man and you feel this negative energy, now you have resources. We didn't have Instagram, Facebook, YouTubes like this where somebody else could share their story. We had to find somebody local. And a lot of times those local people are leading you down the wrong path because you find a mentor in the wrong person, the drug dealer, the person that goes and gets in fights, the person at the blue collar job that has no life that you want, but they're giving you advice and bringing you along. Drinking, drugs, you name it, hustling. So I wish I had a mentor like this, and I hope this message finds the right person. And if you have a checkered past, if you have problems in the past, don't let it define you, because like I said, we will get into it in the future. But I have become very successful, and that is because I have harnessed that same energy to go out and that I used to go cause trouble, that I used to drive me into never quitting when I was in the Marine Corps. I used that same energy to become a good father, a good husband, and a successful entrepreneur. Because I knew that no matter what, I wouldn't quit, and I wouldn't stop, and I didn't want to go get a job at any place, anywhere. I didn't want to beg from somebody else to help me. I didn't want to grovel. I didn't want to be a victim. I wanted to drive myself to success. So that's the beginning of my story, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Like and subscribe right here, and I'm going to continue to share more. I'm continuing to interview people that I see interesting and that have very similar paths right here on my YouTube channel. So thank you guys.